It's well known that there are 5 stages of grief that we've been taught about from Kubler-Ross. There's denial, there's anger, depression, bargaining, and acceptance. And I think that there are stages of Corona quarantine. And I think we've been through the stages, and there are possibly 5 stages as well. And it's on us to really see how we've gone through them and what that final stage and the greatest opportunity there is in it for us. Number 1 is denial. I'll look at my life. When I heard about this strange virus in Wuhan, China, my reaction was, well, that's thousands of miles away. What does that have to do with us? It'll never come here. And then suddenly it was in Europe. Nah, it'll never come here. And then in Italy, the hospitals were overwhelmed. That's Italy. That's nothing to do with the United States. We're the powerful nation of the world. It'll never come here. I clearly remember the day before Purim walking around the corner what feels like decades ago, but really in reality it was just about 2.5 months ago. I remember walking on the phone with the Rosh Yeshiva, the dean of the yeshiva that my son was studying in Israel, saying, why don't you have a program for Passover or for Pesach, instead of having the boys come home, have a program, lock them up in the yeshiva so they won't go anyplace dangerous where they can get infected, and make an amazing experience of it. And he said, I'd love to do that. I don't know if I can. Just a few short days later, we were in lockdown mode in Texas, and denial was over. Once it was clear, things had come to New York, the most powerful cosmopolitan city in the world, and people were getting ill by the droves, and people were dying. There was no room for denial. We were done with stage 1. Stage 2 was just freak out. I know for me, a couple of days after Purim, I said, oh my God, I need to get my son home. He was supposed to fly through Europe. He can't fly through Europe. We need to get him home now. Start looking like mad online for tickets, different prices, finding different options, calling my daughter in New York and saying, I want you to come home tomorrow. And we all went through that. As a rabbi, it was making sure that everyone's staying home, making sure people are safe, making sure people have what they need, dealing with the hoarding. I got a very memorable phone call in the middle of all of that. One of my students called me and said, Rabbi, I want to tell you how highly I think of you. I said, sure, always want to hear about that. And he said, you're on my short list of people I'm going to be giving toilet paper to. And you know what? I was touched. He said, Rabbi, I'm here for you. If you need toilet paper, I'm your guy. I met my neighbor whose mother had passed away a couple of years ago, and I said, how are you managing? He said, well, my mom always hoarded toilet paper. Say, this man is about 6 feet. He said, I have a pile of toilet paper in my house that is taller than my head. And I was jealous. One of my students called me and said, Rabbi, I went to Costco and I was able to pick up 2 packages of toilet paper, about 10, 15 rolls of toilet paper. One for me, one for you. I'm coming over to drop it off. I was excited. The sun was shining that day. I told my wife, and my wife being the voice of reason that she is, she said, absolutely not. We have enough toilet paper. Leave it for other people. Do you have it? Call them right now. Say, do not bring it here. There are other people in need. That was the freak out stage. We were genuinely worried. Do people have what they need? Are people listening to the rules? Are people being safe? Crossing the street when you saw someone walking towards you, and so on. The third stage was a profound sadness. Sadness for people getting married who, instead of having a few hundred people with all their friends and relatives and mentors at the wedding, suddenly got married in a backyard with a dozen people, with most of their family and certainly friends not there. A sadness for the young men and women that lost half of their gap year or the year in Israel. A sadness for the graduates of high school, elementary school, college who missed their graduations because the graduations were on Zoom or didn't even take place. A sadness for all the opportunities that were lost. Besides, of course, the people who fell because of this illness, the people who were so sick and worse. Besides all that, just a sadness for lost opportunities. And then we reach the stage that, thank God, we're in right now, the stage where we're able to breathe. We're able to congregate in small groups with people. We're able to have services and daven together in shul, again with small groups, with proper precautions. We're able to smile and laugh like the line someone sent me yesterday where he said, the holiday of Shavuot is coming up, or Shavuos, and traditionally we eat dairy food and cheesecake, and as a result, there's not enough cream cheese in many of the stores around the Jewish community. I don't mean to cause any hoarding or freaking out. But the line he sent me was, I'll trade you 96 rolls of toilet paper for 3 packages of cream cheese. We're able to laugh about that now. We're able to breathe. We're able to think about moving beyond this. But I believe that it's the next stage that's most critical. And that's the stage we have to get to right now. The stage we have to get to right now is the stage where, on the one hand, we're able to breathe. We still have to feel a profound sense of sadness for all that's lost, including many people's lives, livelihoods, and so on. But we have to get to a place of realizing the opportunity that we have. You see, I've mentioned many times, I maybe even mentioned on Torah Gone Viral over the last number of weeks, that a number of years ago, pre-corona, I traveled to New York with a group of men, and I took them to a Hasidic rabbi. And I asked the Hasidic rabbi, I said, we'd like to know, what is the message of the founder of the Hasidic movement, the Baal Shem Tov? What message did he give us? And he said the most incredible answer that I've said so many times, but we can't say it enough times. He said the Baal Shem Tov taught us that whatever you're grappling with, and whatever you're struggling with, and whatever your situation is perfect and is important. God put you there because God wants you to grapple with this. It's important for you to grapple with this. It's important for you to have these circumstances, these challenges, and there's an opportunity there. And this opportunity is your greatness. I was bike riding on Sunday, and I met my dear friends, the Nurkos. And we stopped to talk, and I turned to Jonathan, who's in college, who obviously is home during the lockdown. And Jonathan is a bright, deep thinker. I said, Jonathan, what's the opportunity in the middle of all this? What's the opportunity? What's the 5th stage going to look like in your life? I said, I want to tell people your answer. And Jonathan said, give me a day or two, I'll get back to you. And sure enough, Jonathan sent me a WhatsApp message. He said, it's gratitude for all that's good in my life. And being able to take a pause to realize all that I should appreciate and all that I may have appreciated, but maybe I took for granted. And now I appreciate it on a whole deeper level, whether it's family, whether it's opportunities. And I think that's a beautiful answer. That's Jonathan's answer. Your answer might be very different. Everyone's in different circumstances. Some of us have been stuck at home with a bunch of little kids and we're going nuts. Some people are dealing with a spouse that you've never noticed things about the spouse that bother you that you never noticed before at this magnitude. Or maybe you're the one whose flaws are being noticed and you have to deal with that. There's an opportunity here. Maybe it's financial loss. Maybe it's anxiety. Maybe it's a sense of depression. Maybe it's the sadness of inability to get together with other people. Whatever your challenge is, there's an opportunity. And we have to find that opportunity. We have to find the opportunity to grow with grace and dignity in the midst of this situation. What that's going to look like for you is different than what it's going to look like for me and different than what it's going to look like for Jonathan. But that's our opportunity. That's what we have to do right now. We've gone through the stage of denial. We've gone through freak out. We've gone through sadness. We've gone through catching our breath. And now let's go through growth. And that's where we need to be now. And if we do that, then this will truly be a memorable, historical, transformational moment in our lives.